and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece and today we'll be speaking about the Liberty Media CEO Greg Maffei's apology to the residents of Las Vegas. But before we get into that, do be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified when we upload the latest Formula One news. Liberty Media CEO Greg Maffei has apologized to the residents of Las Vegas for the disruption caused by the preparation for the Grand Prix. Work has been ongoing for months in Nevada to resurface the strip as well as construct the paddock and pit facilities for the Grand Prix, which has had a knock-on effect of delays and diversions for the local residents. Trees have been removed while the world-famous Bellagio fountains have been blocked from view due to the grandstands that have been constructed there. With there also being complaints about the high prices for tickets and hospitality packages, with some going for millions of dollars. Maffei, though, has apologized to the residents of Las Vegas. I want to apologize to all the Las Vegas residents, and we appreciate that they have had their forbearance and their willingness to tolerate us. We're going to bring something like $1.7 billion, though, of revenue to the area, so it is not just for the benefit of the fans who want to view the race. We hope this is a great economic benefit in Las Vegas, and we hope that this is the most difficult year with all the construction that went on, and that things will be easier in the future. There will be at least 105,000 people, so the sheer scale of it, even for Las Vegas, will be the largest event of the year. There's a launch party from Wednesday to Sunday, almost a week long of events and musical acts. You know, you're seeing sports figures from other sports having their own kind of side viewing parties. A lot of the high prices, though, frankly comes from the costs that are not entirely ours. I'm not begrudging our partners, but you know, 5-night minimums in hotels and things like that helped push up the costs. Not all of it's just been pricing of tickets. The experience of that, and frankly the fact that there's been so much demand, is what drives it. Well, the demand has certainly not been there in the last few weeks, as the ticket prices have been falling by almost 80% for certain days. And we're certainly hoping to get great viewings for this Grand Prix race weekend, but you have to think of the residents who have been affected by the lead up to this Grand Prix race weekend. Of course, next year should be a little bit less of a disruption for the residents, as all of the pit lanes and pit buildings have at least been constructed, but we have to ask in the future how to minimize the effect on the residents in Las Vegas. We're certainly looking forward to this race weekend. It should provide some great racing for us. Of course, though, with those low temperatures being expected, that could put a bit of a spanner in the works. Do be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Formula One content. And do be sure to let us know in the comment section who you are supporting for this Las Vegas Grand Prix race weekend. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers.
Hello everybody, Stevie P here from Forever Sports, and I'm here to tell you about BOYLESPORTS, the official betting partner of Forever Sports. Across all of our channels, they are one of the leading betting companies in the world and have recently launched in South Africa with an amazing offering. You can get a 1,000 Rand welcome offer. For the rugby, they are giving you 25% payout boost up to 2,000 Rand on the Springboks winning the World Cup, as well as an extra 50 Rand bet when you stake 250 more on rugby during the Rugby World Cup. It is your one-stop betting shop. That is BOYLESPORTS. Come and join us in the community. Check the links in the description to sign up. Get yourself an account and make sure that you are winning big with BOYLESPORTS.
Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. The cold conditions expected when the cars take to the track on Thursday evening in Las Vegas are set to provide Formula One teams with an intriguing challenge. This weekend is predicted to be possibly the coldest Grand Prix since the Canadian Grand Prix in 1978, with temperatures for the race ranging from 5 degrees to 10 degrees Celsius. Before we get into the video today, be sure to like it and subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified with all of the latest Formula One news. With potentially the coldest race Formula One has ever seen being hosted on Sunday, teams will need to ensure that they can get the 3 Pirelli compounds to work effectively. But the unusually low temperatures will also have a significant impact on overall car cooling, and hence the aero specifications that the teams will be running. As such, the challenge is very different from that in recent races in Qatar and Mexico City. Compared to the latter, where the thin air requires maximum cooling, Vegas will be at the opposite extreme. And while it is obvious that modern hybrid V6 power units don't like running in too hot conditions, equally they are not designed to operate in extreme cold. While Formula 1 cars run in chilly winter testing and filming days in Europe, the difference is that Vegas is a competitive event, which means that there can be no compromises in terms of power unit usage. The ultra-long main straight that runs along the strip will present its own challenges. Much like Baku, it will ensure that the brakes and tyres will be potentially colder than optimum when the cars reach the corner at the end of it. Just to add to the fun though, as with any street circuit, there's only so much detail that the teams have been able to incorporate into their simulations, in terms of bumps and the exact nature of the newly laid surface, which remains something of an unknown. It is tough, said Williams' head of vehicle performance, Dave Robson. I think that the combination of the track surface, which we know very little about, and how that will interact with the tyres will dictate so much of how the weekend plans out. In terms of the layout of the track, we've got a good understanding of that, and we can run it in the simulator and get a rough idea. Going to a new track like that, one of the main things will be that we go with a clear starting position. But we also have a whole host of options lined up, ready to cover whatever actually happens. Certainly we can't predict exactly how the car will behave in Vegas, so we will go there with plenty of options. Other teams agree that it is something of a step into the unknown. It does look like it's going to be cold, said Alpine head of trackside engineering, Kyron Pilbeam. We don't really know how cold it's going to get. It's a new circuit, which is always interesting. We will do our usual pre-event simulation work and simulator work, but we never quite know what you're going to get. There's always some variations in how bumpy it is, or what track surface is like. That kind of thing. We'll do everything we can before the event, but we can't do everything. We need to go in there prepared to learn in the first couple of practice sessions. Tyre management has been one of the keys to the 2023 season, and as recently as the Brazilian Grand Prix, we saw huge discrepancies between the teams that got it right for the race, notably Red Bull and Aston Martin, and those that got it wrong, such as Mercedes. Teams usually have a narrow operating window in which they can get the tyres to work, and finding that sweet spot in Vegas, with mechanical setup and outlap preparations, among other variables, might not be so straightforward. Firing them up after safety car periods will also be a special challenge with the cold conditions. In terms of the tyres, it rarely is taking them into a different environment, said Red Bull chief engineer Paul Monaghan. A few years ago, we went to the Nürburgring in October, and it was wet and cold every day. And Austin a few years ago, I remember one day was particularly freezing cold. We get into all the concerns of cold cracking, handling the tyres, all this type of thing. And yes, they are very much at the lower end of their operating range. So, within the sort of freedoms that we have, with the wheel bodywork, as we now call it, and trying to operate the car, it is up to us to try and get the tyres to a point where they can work. And the challenge is there for all of us. I think that's across all three compounds. They're all going to be too cold. It's really a case of can we get all of them into the window for long enough that we can run a decent race stint. As Monaghan indicates, there's a relationship between tyres and aero specifications in terms of what he defines as the wheel bodywork, brake ducts, and other parts in that area. But obviously the conditions will have a substantial impact on all other areas of the car. For Qatar and or Mexico, most teams brought extra louvres, or opened up the Coke bottle at the rear of the car to aid with cooling. You would think that would encourage teams to focus on low drag for better straight line speed, but it is not necessarily that straightforward. It's not really an aero gain, it is more about managing the power unit and the gearbox and keeping all of those other things in their operating window, says Alpine trackside engineer Kyron Pilbeam. But we are ready for that. It could be like winter testing, it could be that cold. It's hard to know exactly what we're going to find when we get there. There's times in winter testing when you need to blank out the radiators a bit, which you wouldn't normally design for your car. It could be those kind of conditions, but I think we're ready for it. The operating window is much wider than it used to be, covering between that sort of temperature. And what we saw in Qatar, it is a very wide operating temperature range. Monaghan agrees that teams should be able to adjust to what is required. I'm not too worried about sorting the car cooling out, to be honest, he said. I don't think it will be that bad. We ran our first promotional day back in February this year, and I was sitting there shivering at Silverstone, wishing I wasn't there, and we could still make it run. We'll see some more closed up cars. Maybe some people will alter the cooling exits towards the back at the top body, which will shrink it down a little bit. Teams will have to juggle the complex relationship between cooling and downforce levels. Previously, we'd have probably made a new small cooling package and traded in the cooling we didn't need for downforce, and there may have been a few other things on the car that we would have done. But now we've got to say, well, is it worth doing that? Particularly as you get towards the end of the season. That may depend on how much attrition and expense you'd had to spend in the previous months. I think it's quite a good example of how in a cost cap world do you choose to optimize the package for that particular weekend, because the parts you could make, you probably won't use anywhere else. And in part, that depends on what you think the other guys will do. So the whole thing becomes quite a nice little game theory problem. We're certainly looking forward to the Las Vegas Grand Prix weekend, and it will be very interesting to see which teams are able to get their setups into the right window in the cold and tricky conditions. Be sure to let us know in the comment section what you think of these cold conditions that are predicted for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece, and today we'll be speaking about Bernie Ecclestone slamming Formula 1 over the Las Vegas Grand Prix. The former Formula 1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone is not one of those looking forward to the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix this weekend. Here's what he had to say ahead of the race in Nevada. But before we get into that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all of the latest Formula 1 news. Former Formula 1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone has slated the Las Vegas Grand Prix and claims it has nothing to do with Formula 1. The sport arrives in Nevada for the inaugural running of the race, its first visit to Sin City since the 1982 Caesars Palace Grand Prix, with drivers set to race past the world-famous hotels and casinos on the Strip. With Formula 1 leading the promotion of the event, the hype for the race has been huge. And given its aim to further boost popularity in the United States, an opening ceremony will be held on Wednesday before driver introductions return ahead of the Grand Prix. Bernie Ecclestone was instrumental in exceeding Formula 1's reach around the world. But speaking to NOS ahead of Las Vegas Grand Prix, he said that I'm not really looking forward to it. Why not? It has nothing to do with Formula 1, he said. Ecclestone is reportedly not happy with Formula 1's expansion. Formula 1's expansion has seen it reach new countries, particularly in the Middle East, with Qatar and Saudi Arabia among the newer races on the calendar. Having played his part in the sport's worldwide expansion, Ecclestone insisted, "I am happy that the sport continues to develop around the world. I am the one who brought Formula 1 out of Europe to the rest of the world. We are competing for a world championship, not a European championship. It is good that that remains the case." Interesting to hear that Bernie Ecclestone is happy that Formula 1 is moving further away from the European races, but is not happy to see Formula 1 going to Las Vegas this weekend. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I know a lot of other Formula 1 fans are certainly looking forward to it. Let us know what you think of Ecclestone's comments down in the comment section below, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner BITDEFENDER for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece. Today we're going to be talking about the Formula 1 legend Ross Brawn, who has issued a crash warning ahead of the spectacular Las Vegas Grand Prix this race weekend. But before we get into that, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified every time we upload the latest Formula 1 news. Former Formula 1 chief Ross Brawn has warned that the sport may have failed to properly consider the risks posed by the chilly temperatures set to plague the Las Vegas Grand Prix, meaning drivers could be in more danger of crashing. With wheel-to-wheel action in the famous city just 5 days away, Brawn has highlighted how the decision to host the race at 10 PM local time could mean that the sport sees the coldest race in Grand Prix history. The timing was chosen to cater to Formula 1's European fan base, but could result in temperatures as low as 4 or 5 degrees. And that factor, combined with the long straights and lack of corners, could leave drivers unable to get heat into their tyres, increasing the risk of crashes. Brawn went on to say, "The one thing we hadn't considered initially, but the tyre company have dealt with it, is that it gets very, very cold at night. So it could be really quite cold, and of course, getting the cars to work in these temperatures can be quite a challenge. The tyre companies have done some work to make sure that the tyres can cope with that, but we're definitely facing some new challenges, which we've never had before, but I think it will be spectacular." Is Brawn right to be concerned? Mercedes have echoed Brawn's concerns about this circuit, which has 3 long straights and 17 corners, suggesting that it could take longer than usual for drivers to get heat into their tyres, especially in the qualifying sessions. It'll just depend on exactly how cold it is, because if the track is down in single figures, that's often a region where you go in winter testing, said Andrew Chauvelin, Mercedes trackside engineer. You do run, and it's either very difficult for the tyres to get switched on, or there may be graining and other things. And then sometimes you just wait until it warms up a bit, so actually having to race and qualify in these conditions will be very interesting. You can just try and identify risks with the new circuit, work out what your contingencies will be, whether you need any sort of specific car spec to deal with that, and we're going to do that at the moment. But as I said, If it's at the very cold end of predictions, it's going to be difficult to know how the tyres are going to work. It's certainly going to provide some interesting spectacles for us this race weekend. Will we get a lot of crashes this race weekend due to the fact that the temperatures are going to be so low, or will we get the teams and engineers figuring out some kind of solution for these cold temperatures? We'll have to wait and see what does happen this weekend at the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix. We're certainly very, very excited for that to get going, and I'm sure all of you down in the comment section are going to be equally as excited as I am as well. Do be sure to let me know down in the comment section what your thoughts are ahead of this Grand Prix race weekend, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece and today we'll be speaking about Toto Wolff enforcing a gambling ban on the Mercedes staff at the Las Vegas Grand Prix race weekend. But before we get into that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest Formula One news. Toto Wolff will put a gambling ban in place at Mercedes throughout the Las Vegas Grand Prix race weekend, with the focus remaining on the task at hand. Formula One heads to Vegas for the first time in 41 years this weekend, and anticipation is high as the city's roads are being turned into a new circuit. But while the casinos are aplenty in Sin City, Wolff has said that they will make sure that the Mercedes staff do not partake in Vegas's gambling culture while they are there. The race has been heavily marketed as Formula One prepares to return to Las Vegas, with quirky features added to the circuit, such as playing card suit motifs on the curbs, along with a licensed wedding chapel being put in place for people to get married in the F1 paddock. But even though Las Vegas holds a reputation as one of the gambling capitals of the world, Wolff will keep a tight rein on his Mercedes staff in that regard. "I think everybody is looking forward to the Vegas Grand Prix," Wolff said. "Racing in the city is comparable to climbing Everest. Hats off to Liberty Media for organising this event. I don't think I'm the only one in Formula One who has never been to the city, which is quite difficult to get around. We don't know how we're going to get from the hotel to the circuit and back, but I'm sure we'll find a solution. I can't wait for the race weekend to start." As I've said, I've never been to Las Vegas, but we'll do our best to make sure everybody in the team stays away from the casinos. I don't gamble, and I'll make sure no one else gambles either. Toto Wolff has some work on his hands this weekend to keep his staff and his drivers away from the casinos in Las Vegas, which will certainly be a difficult thing to do because there are so many of them around this city. But we're certainly really looking forward to getting under the lights in the Las Vegas Strip. Do be sure to drop a comment down below letting us know your excitement for this weekend and letting us know who you are rooting for. And be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel as well while you're there. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece, and Formula One's biggest stars can find out why Las Vegas has its name Sin City. Because one of Nevada's brothels is opening its doors and offering each driver free sex ahead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But before we get any further into that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all of the latest Formula One news. Famous Chicken Ranch brothel workers Addison Gray and Alice Little are really excited to welcome the race to their home turf for the first time since 1982. And they want to make sure every driver leaves Vegas happy. We're told the licensed sex workers are offering a special one-on-one session at no charge for all of the guys on the grid, just in case they want to see some action prior to Saturday's race. It's Formula One fever in Las Vegas this month, and we're all psyched up for the big event, Little told us. Any driver that wants to get their hearts racing and celebrate the Formula One with me and Addison will be treated to 100% complimentary coitus. Drivers aren't the only ones getting perks, as Gray and Little said that they're also giving a 50% off deal for anyone flocking to the desert for the Formula One festivities. Our discount will help Vegas visitors and residents blow off some steam with a couple of generous ladies so that they can chill out during the race weekend, Little said. And we're here to provide some well-oiled appreciation. Gray said that the Grand Prix also needs a little bit of spice anyway, especially since they stopped using grid girls years ago. Since Formula 1 banned their fabulous grid girls in 2018, the events have been overwhelmingly lacking in much needed sex appeal, Gray said. Our discount isn't just a leisure of love for Formula 1, it's an invitation for fans to revel in an experience where sex appeal is celebrated, not sidelined. Because in our world, glamour isn't forbidden, it's the star of the show. Well, I'm sure now we've already seen a bit of a gambling ban from Mercedes boss Toto Wolff. I'm sure there's going to be a brothel ban now also on the cards for the Mercedes team, as well as I'm sure for a lot of the other Formula 1 teams down in the Formula 1 paddock. But, well, if drivers do feel like blowing off some steam, and any other Formula 1 fans, they have the opportunity to do that this race weekend at the Chicken Ranch brothel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Be sure to let us know in the comment section what you think of this, and be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. I've been Reece on Forever. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BITDEFENDER, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. In this video today, we'll be taking a look at the new race suits that Ferrari have revealed ahead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But before we do be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all of the latest Formula 1 news. Ferrari took to X.com today to reveal special race suits ahead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. In their post, where they shared images of the drivers in their new race suits, they went on and said, "Special race, special colours. Fits check for the Las Vegas Grand Prix." Their new race suits are a simplified version of their usual red, black and white race suits, featuring only red and white for this race weekend, as well as having their race number featured on their back. The new race suits are also accompanied by new white and red racing boots for the drivers. In the post, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz were pictured at a media shoot in their new Las Vegas race suits. They could also be seen wearing new Ferrari caps, which could be Ferrari teasing new merchandise that could be available for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. They're certainly looking ready to get going for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, but we'll have to wait and see if they can get their new race suits onto the podium on Sunday. Let us know in the comment section what you think of Ferrari's new race suits. And be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece and today we'll be talking about Max Verstappen's new helmet that he has revealed ahead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But before we do get into that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified when we upload videos about all of the latest Formula 1 news. To get into it here today, Formula 1 returns next week in Vegas for the return of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, who has been vocally uninterested in the Vegas Grand Prix, went onto social media today to reveal his new helmet ahead of the Grand Prix weekend. Max Verstappen has said previously that, first of all, I think we are going there more for the show than for the racing itself. I'm going there, I'm doing my thing, and I'm out again. Despite his disinterest, he has revealed a striking new helmet design for himself ahead of the Vegas Grand Prix weekend. His striking new helmet design, which is majority white in colour, features neon yellow accents. with gambling and Vegas themed designs, along with his signature line on top in neon yellow. It is certainly a design that is not going to be missed out on the racetrack under the lights in Las Vegas, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of the other designs that are released by the drivers ahead of the Grand Prix race weekend. Be sure to let us know in the comment section what you think of Max's design, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece, and today we'll be speaking about AlphaTauri's new livery that they have revealed for the Las Vegas Grand Prix as well as the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But before we get into that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all of the latest Formula One news. AlphaTauri has unveiled an alternate car livery that it will use for the final 2 rounds of the Formula One season. Starting from this weekend's event in Las Vegas, the AT04 will run a striped design around the engine cover and side pod area of the car. The livery will stay on the Challenger for next weekend's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which will conclude the Formula One campaign. The design has been inspired by the squad's collaboration with Brendan Monroe and his Las Vegas capsule collection. AlphaTauri enters the weekend challenging Williams for 7th in the Constructors' Championship after scoring points at the last 3 race weekends. Its late season resurgence comes after it occupied the bottom of the standings for much of the year. Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda will be behind the wheel of the alternately designed AlphaTauri at the final 2 Grand Prix, with the duo also contracted to compete for the team once again next season. The design that AlphaTauri are using for this race weekend is certainly quite striking and will be very fitting for Daniel Ricciardo, I'm sure. I'm waiting for his helmet design to be revealed for this weekend. I'm sure he'll be going with something very striking and very Vegas inspired as well. Be sure to let us know in the comment section what you think of AlphaTauri's Vegas themed car, as well as be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. My name is Reece, and today we'll be doing a helmet review over all of the drivers' helmets for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But before we get into that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all of the latest Formula One news. The inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix is here. The event is shaping up to be a true Vegas spectacle, both on and off the track, with race promoters, drivers and teams alike promising blazing speed and plenty of overtaking. The battle on the track will be fierce, with themed helmets becoming a growing part of Formula One. This season alone has seen some spectacular efforts from drivers, so you might not be too surprised then to see the drivers upping the ante for the inaugural Las Vegas event. Max Verstappen, the 3-time world champion, was the first out of the gates to reveal his helmet for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. He revealed a neon-inspired helmet for the neon capital of the world, being Vegas. In his helmet, you can see, of course, brightly coloured neon all over the place, with Vegas-inspired quips such as playing cards and poker chips as well. Alpine driver Esteban Ocon unveiled his themed helmet for the Las Vegas Grand Prix on Wednesday. However, unlike Verstappen, Ocon did not lean in to the Vegas theme. Instead, he paid tribute to one of his team's new owners, actor Ryan Reynolds, with his Deadpool-themed helmet for this weekend's Vegas Grand Prix. It certainly is one of my favourites heading into this weekend. Quite a different helmet and very, very cool looking for sure. Next up, we had Lando Norris. The McLaren driver is known for some of the better themed helmets, including his beach ball helmet that he brought to the Miami Grand Prix earlier this season. His Vegas Grand Prix design though? Snakes. Of course, we're racing out in the desert this weekend, so what better than for snakes on his helmet? Very interesting. I'm not necessarily a big fan of snakes, but Lando Norris will be racing around with a snake-inspired helmet for this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Norris's teammate Oscar Piastri has teamed up with Google and has unveiled a dark
chrome version of his helmet for this weekend's Vegas Grand Prix. He dropped it on Wednesday with a nod to the team's relationship with Google Chrome. He went onto Twitter to say, "My awesome Google Chrome Dark Mode special helmet for this Las Vegas Grand Prix." In collaboration with Google, he has unveiled a black helmet with the Google Chrome livery all over that. Very cool, and of course, we'll see him racing with that this weekend. And then the last driver to unveil his helmet was Fernando Alonso. He has unveiled a chrome helmet with playing cards on the back and a few touches of Las Vegas. So that has been it for this helmet review. Very, very exciting to see all of these drivers unveiling their helmets ahead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I'm sure we will get a few more drivers unveiling some helmets before we get onto track tomorrow evening, but as of today, this has been all of the helmets that have been unveiled so far. Do be sure to let me know in the comment section which is your favorite helmet. I think mine, I'm very much leaning towards Esteban Ocon's Deadpool themed helmet. I think it's really cool. It's not just a Vegas themed helmet as we've seen from everyone else, but I think second to that would be probably Lando Norris's snake themed helmet. I'm not a big fan of snakes, but it is once again a very cool helmet for Lando Norris. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been Reece on Forever Motorsports. Cheers.
Hello everybody, Stevie P here from Forever Sports, and I'm here to tell you about BOYLESPORTS, the official betting partner of Forever Sports. Across all of our channels, they are one of the leading betting companies in the world and have recently launched in South Africa with an amazing offering. You can get a 1,000 Rand welcome offer. For the rugby, they are giving you 25% payout boost up to 2,000 Rand on the Springboks winning the World Cup, as well as an extra 50 Rand bet when you stake 250 more on rugby during the Rugby World Cup. It is your one-stop betting shop. That is BOYLESPORTS. Come and join us in the community. Check the links in the description to sign up, get yourself an account, and make sure that you are winning big with BOYLESPORTS.
Welcome to the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix. Formula One takes to the streets of Sin City this weekend, and it is set to be a spectacle. The 6.1 kilometer long street circuit is the third longest circuit on the calendar and is nestled into the heart of Las Vegas, with the star of the show being a 2 kilometer long straight down the Vegas Strip, which will see the drivers reaching speeds of around 350 kilometers an hour. Prior to 2023, the only other time a Formula One Grand Prix has been held in Las Vegas was in 1981 and 1982. And for those 2 years, it was called the Caesars Palace Grand Prix, with a temporary circuit being set up in the parking lot of the Caesars Palace Hotel and Casino. This race is set to be the highlight of the season, with multiple teams revealing special liveries as well as drivers bringing one-off helmets for the race weekend. This weekend also saw the first opening ceremony for an F1 race, being kicked off by bands and singers, before introducing all of the Formula One drivers. The 6.2 kilometer long circuit is a thrilling neon-fueled ride that takes drivers through the heart of Sin City. The circuit runs anti-clockwise, featuring 17 corners and a 1.92 kilometer long straight, making it one of the fastest tracks on the Formula One calendar, with average speeds set to be comparable to Italy's Monza. The start-finish line and turns 1 to 4 are situated in a former parking lot that Formula One purchased for a whopping $240 million and transformed into a state-of-the-art pit and paddock area. As drivers exit that area and head to Koval Lane, they will experience a 1 kilometer long straight from turns 4 until they reach a hard braking zone at Westchester Drive in turn 5. Turns 6, 7, 8 and 9 will take drivers around the newly opened MSG Sphere, before accelerating down Sands Avenue to turn 12. Between turns 12 and 14, the track offers a 1.92 kilometer long straight that provides drivers with stunning views of the Las Vegas Boulevard, aka the Las Vegas Strip, including the Venetian, the Mirage, Caesars Palace, the Eiffel Tower at Paris, Las Vegas, and the Bellagio Fountains. Finally, the circuit will travel along East Harmon Avenue from turns 14 to 17, before the left kink of turn 17 takes it back to the start-finish line. It is certainly set to be an interesting weekend, with temperatures expected to be in the single digits for the race on Saturday evening. This could make things tricky for the drivers with regards to getting their tyres up to temperature, For this weekend, Pirelli are bringing the softest range of tyres, with the C5, the C4 and the C3 compounds. Hopefully this will allow drivers to get their tyres up to temperature. And just to spice things up, rain is also predicted for the race. Watch now as you get taken around a lap of the Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit. Let us know down in the comment section who you are supporting for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We hope to see you during our coverage of the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
Fix that big. What the hell happened? Hello, and we are all sorted, and welcome to Forever Motorsports. You join myself, Mark, and Reece. Of course, this is on Forever Sports. That will be streaming the FP3 practice, that is, well, F3 practice 3, in Las Vegas. Yes, in Las Vegas, of course, after yesterday's relative disaster, but somewhat saved FP2 session, which saw the Ferraris be very powerful.
Can you call us a saved FP2 session if it's 2.5 hours later than it was meant to be?
Well, at least we had 90 minutes.
No fans.
We had at least we had 90 minutes of practice, so people at least can get their cars somewhat set, so we can expect some actual quali sims today, and all getting ready for qualifying, which is also going to be today, later on this morning for many of us, and otherwise later on in the evening at midnight in Las Vegas. It is currently a Friday in Las Vegas, but for most of us around the world, we're joining very early on a Saturday morning, or otherwise lunchtime for those in the east of the world. So let us know where you're joining from, of course, and be sure to like and subscribe to the video, and let us know if you can hear you can hear us. Let us know of any questions you might have. And yeah, I mean, who do you think is going to top FP3? Go and participate in that poll as well. And go and check the description out for our partners. And a very big shout out to our partners, BOYLESPORTS and BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER, the leader in cybersecurity across the world. And BOYLESPORTS, who's running a really cool special promotion this weekend.
For the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
For the Las Vegas Grand Prix, of course. 50 Rand spent, and you get 20 free spins for every 50 Rand you spend.
So Elizabeth Frable saying, coming from Vegas here, my living room is 20 minutes away from the track. That's incredible. You should probably go and have a look over your living room and try and see if you can get any glimpses of these cars out on track. They should be getting out in the next 13 minutes. We're just looking here. It is looking quite cold once again.
Yeah, I mean, clearly all of the commentators here have got big jackets on and otherwise longs on, so not going to be the warmest temperatures here in Las Vegas. We're looking at around, I imagine, the mid-teens in terms of temperatures, the 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. Track temperature will be similar. So Max Verstappen was very critical, of course, of the track yesterday with regards to trying to get the tyres warmed up and trying to get the car all suited to the various conditions that were here. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, not so much. So I think it's lost to find out in this FP3 session in terms of the qualifying pace of those Mercedes and the McLarens. They didn't do particularly well yesterday. Whereas Red Bull have also got to try and find some more pace because they were significantly outshone by the Ferraris and Fernando Alonso.
I don't think you can take yesterday's pace as 100% true.
Of course.
Sure, I think it's a good indicator, but I think that the Red Bulls are going to be able to find a handful of time again today and cut that deficit to the Ferraris at the top.
Yeah, so well, it's obviously expected that we will see the Red Bulls a little bit quicker, but no denying the fact that they wouldn't have been wanting to be where they were yesterday in FP2. There was clear frustration out of the Red Bull team after that session. And Ferrari, of course, will be looking quite good after yesterday's session. I mean, they were quicker by like more than half a second on most of the other constructors. So they'll be very, very happy. Kuhn Shandok also said he was quite impressed by the Ferraris, and he reckoned that they will be right there fighting in the race itself as well as in qualifying. So I think there's lots to analyze, there's lots to think about, there's lots to hopefully look forward to in this session that's coming up, of course. And yeah, be sure to let us know the predictions of where you reckon drivers will finish up in at least FP3, and then let us know where you think everybody will finish up in qualifying itself. And what do you make of the track so far? What do you make of the weekend? Of course, we did have that big stuff up yesterday with manholes. Do you think that that's going to become a problem again at some point, or do you think it's pretty much in the past?
If it does become a problem again, I think there's going to be a major uproar because it should have been all sorted now. It should be completely sorted. I'm sure the FIA and Formula One are going to make sure that there are no more stoppages to the Formula One show this weekend. But I don't think it's that easy sometimes. Just looking with Charles Leclerc at the moment, he has been quite enjoying this track. He said initially, when he looked at it, he didn't think it was going to be all that exciting, all that characteristic of a fun track in Formula One. And he's gotten out there and he's kind of eaten his words a little bit, and he said he's actually quite enjoying it out there.
Well, of course he's enjoying it. He's currently the fastest driver to have gone around the track. So he's certainly going to be with a bit of a smile in terms of his pace. So that will be a good thing for him. However, at the same time, looking at his interview right now, he's currently being interviewed. He looks quite tired, I think, from yesterday, of course. Yesterday's session ended at 4 a.m. So technically, they've actually started the session the same day as what they did yesterday. They started Friday morning at 2:30 a.m. And now they're going again at around about 9 or 9:30 in the evening. So they've been awake for a long time in the last 48 hours, not had a lot of sleep in that time, does look a little bit tired. I think a lot of drivers will be a bit more tired. They cannot afford for any sessions to really be delayed today, because otherwise you really are going to start stretching teams' energy for the race itself. And luckily, we've got fans in the grandstands today. Hopefully they'll actually get to see some proper running.
Yes, but even though you say they're in the grandstands, I can see the grandstands in the background. They're relatively empty.
Yeah, but I mean, we know that they didn't sell many tickets. The only part of the stadium or slash the track that seems to be full for the Grand Prix is the main grandstand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the rest of them were relatively empty anyway yesterday. So hopefully we'll see that fill up a little bit more for the race maybe. But it's not been looking particularly good in terms of an overall crowd attendance here at Las Vegas. But I think that's to be expected. It's the first time here. And the tickets were stupidly priced. They needed to find a appropriate price point for the tickets in Las Vegas. I think next season you'll probably find it'll be a lot better attended, and also after we've seen a Grand Prix we can see how exciting it might be, and that should hopefully also improve the attendance next year.
Yes, and hopefully the ticket prices are more affordably priced.
Yeah, well, as I say, that's what I reckon that they will do next year, and I think they've realised their mistake. As I'm seeing Lando Norris, of course, get interviewed now.
He's also looking rather tired.
As I say, he's
They're all looking quite tired, actually.
He has bags under all of their eyes. It's a bit like us as well. We're waking up quite early up here. Luckily, it's not too early. The sun is out, so that's not too bad. But it has only just come up. I think it's very much. I mean, what do we think is going to happen here with regards to McLaren and Mercedes?
Well, I think McLaren should be able to find pace here this weekend. They have been fast at high-speed circuits in the past, such as Mexico. I'm trying to think where else. Monza, they've also done relatively well. I don't understand why they haven't found the pace just yet this weekend. Maybe they're just trying to get to the bottom of their setup. But I do believe they should be able to at least find some time quite soon, hopefully.
Yeah, indeed. And Lando Norris, of course, has been the winner of the Driver of the Day for the last 3 consecutive Grand Prix. When including Oscar Piastri, McLaren have won it at least the last 5 race weekends. So they've been driving exceptionally well in that McLaren. So we do expect them to find a lot more pace in the session. They do tend to take the first day in a traditional Grand Prix weekend, of course. First day is more for race pace. They don't really care for qualifying all that much. That's more for FP3, which is now this session, of course. So
especially when we haven't abandoned FP1, they gather a lot of data.
So one imagines that there'll be a lot better this session. But how good will they be this session? Will they be fighting right at the top, or will they be somewhat near the top? I don't think they're going to be as quick as they have been these last few Grand Prix, but I think they should be near the top, challenging, I reckon, with the Aston Martins for what would be 3rd, 4th, or 5th in terms of the fastest times.
Just reading here from Lindiwe that Hamilton says he goes to bed at 6 a.m. Las Vegas time to wake up at 1 p.m. to adjust to the different time zone.
Well, I suppose you have to, because
we got Abu Dhabi up next.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't really afford to get too used to the time zone in Las Vegas, especially when you are racing late on, especially very late on, because the qualifying session starts at midnight local time. So, I mean, you'd have to imagine that all the drivers will be doing something similar in terms of going to bed pretty much only in the morning rather than in the evening, and then waking up in the afternoon so they can try and get well rested. I think especially after yesterday's session, a lot of drivers would have done such. They would have gone to bed at around 5/5 in the morning.
I don't think so. They would have gone to bed much later. They still had press.
They did have press,
and they still had debriefings with the engineers. So they would have only gotten to bed probably yesterday around 9.
No, I think earlier than that. I think
you'll be surprised how long the media.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I fully understand that, except for the fact that I do think by 6, hence Hamilton saying that, I reckon he probably would have been bed 6:30, maybe 7, because the media duties were straight afterwards. Of course, after the session, it takes not too long after the session.
Yes,
to go and get
to debrief with your engineers about that hour-and-a-half session, which takes quite a lot of time too.
Yeah, as I said, we'll see how everyone fares today with energy. I think it should be better towards the end of the session. I think tomorrow, hopefully, should we not have any delays, they'll be a lot better in terms of their look, because they do look quite tired, and I can understand it. They were up very, very late last night in Las Vegas, and of course we are not very far away from the start of FP3, and we've got that timing running down, of course, and we'll have the time boards bring it up for you. I will say the circuit does still look incredible.
Well, nothing's really changed from last night to today, so I do agree, it does look really, really cool. But just hoping that we don't get any affected running again today.
I don't think we will. I think it should be fine. Of course, this is round 22 of 23 for the 2023 season. The last race in the Americas, of course. We've been here for a fair while for the last few weeks in Formula One. This is the Las Vegas circuit, going around all the famous landmarks of Las Vegas. The Sphere, the Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, the Vegas Strip, of course. All very, very famous, and it does look rather incredible. Of course, the track's layout has always been joked about for the last few weeks with regards to looking like Spider Pig, or otherwise a pig itself. Track distance is 6.2 kilometers long. The DRS zones, there are 2 DRS zones, of course, one on the main strip and one on the following start, on the straight that follows on from the start finish. There are 17 turns in total around this track, and we don't quite know where all the various overtaking points are in the track.
And we don't know what the possible fastest time is either.
No, so we've got lots of unknowns about the track still, but it looks relatively good otherwise.
Yes, for this weekend, Pirelli are bringing their C5, C4, and C3 compounds because they are hoping that this will allow the drivers to get their tyres up to temperature with the cold conditions out here at the moment. We don't know what the exact temperatures are just yet. We're waiting for those graphics to come up.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think there's lots of unknowns about the track, but yet we did see quite a few hints at what might happen in the race itself, as well as qualifying later on. When we had practice yesterday, so the pit exit I think will be a talking point. The pit entry I think is certainly going to be a talking point still as well, because drivers can't really see the lines. I'm not sure if that was fatigue from maybe waiting for a long time yesterday, because we didn't see that in FP1.
It might have been a combination of fatigue as well as it's not marked very clearly. So
yeah, so there's that issue. There's the pit exit issue, and I do think drivers will struggle in a lot of corners. And do you reckon we'll see a yellow flag / a red flag in this session?
We'll definitely see yellow flags. We saw a lot yesterday with regards to lockups. So there's definitely going to be yellow flag. Red flag, I'm not so certain.
Yeah. So I mean, the runoff areas at least are very well placed around the track. That was well thought through. At the end of pretty much every reasonable straight, there is a fairly chunkable sized runoff area. So you should hopefully stay out of the walls should you miss those braking points. But there are a couple of corners that have caught drivers very, very close to having quite a big contact. And we saw Logan Sargent actually make a very, very slight contact with one of them. And he was not the only one to get so close to the wall there. Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, lots of drivers getting very, very close to the walls here. So I do think it's good mix of very tough corners as well as some very good straights where you can have a lot of overtaking opportunities. It should be quite an exciting track. And of course, we are literally just under a minute away from the start of FP3.
Yes, just about to get underway as we're watching over all the fans, watching the teams and drivers get ready to get into their cars. There's quite a lot of people still walking up and down the pit lane, so I'm sure that will quieten down relatively soon, I hope. But just before the session today, Mark, who do you think is going to top it?
I think Ferraris will still do well. I think Ferraris are probably going to be right near the top there. I'm sure we'll see the Red Bulls get much closer to the top there. I think they'll challenge for it, but I still think the Ferraris somehow take it.
Okay, do you think the Ferraris still take it? I think that could be very possible. They are showing to be probably the fastest team out there. We know that they're very fast in straight line speed. We've seen them being fast in Baku, in Monza. They were quick as well. Not as quick, but they did still have some pace in Mexico. So hopefully they are able to really challenge at the top this weekend. But I think the Red Bull and Max Verstappen is going to claw back up.
Well, do you reckon that he's going to top this session, or do you think he's going to be just there and thereabouts?
I'm going to say P2.
P2.
I'm going to keep Charles Leclerc in P1.
Yeah, as I say, I'm keeping Ferraris in P1. I think they've got too much pace. They found far too much pace yesterday that I reckon they'll find even more today. That it should be quite beneficial in that regard. Daniel Ricciardo, of course, when asked for his F1 wish list in 2017, answered simply a race in Vegas, and he's got his wish 6 years later, of course, and at least he's found himself a seat as well to actually participate in it, because earlier this year, of course, he had not had that. Thanks Nick de Vries for vacating that spot for Daniel Ricciardo to go and take his place. Alex Albon also didn't do too badly yesterday. Unfortunately, finished up quite low down compared to where he managed to get himself up a few times in his lap times. But
he got up to P3 a couple of times.
Yeah, so he's got a very fancy helmet for this weekend. It's a very, very interesting helmet. And of course, the P3 session has now started. And not too much activity in the pit lane in terms of cars making their way out. Although I do think I see potentially a car making its way down the pit lane.
Piastri has made his way out. I can see his speedo is live. Yes, he is out there.
Yeah, so Piastri's out on track, as is Lando Norris. So I reckon we're going to see some very early soft tyre runs, perhaps, from these two McLaren drivers. Try and put some proper quaddy pace sims down, I think, straight away before going and doing a few more other sims and then ending it off with some more quality sims. I think they're going to try and get an immediate idea of quality pace, just so they know where they stand.
Brand new softs.
I have no idea what size they're on at all. They might even be on mediums, but I assume they'll come out in the softs, do a couple of quaddy laps before coming in to go do other strategy.
He's on mediums.
Those mediums? Yeah, they're
hards.
I think they're hards, yeah.
Yeah, he's on hards.
So we're doing some race strategy, or maybe just a cider lap. Of course, we're looking at that big sphere. And I thought blue was one of the colours they weren't allowed to show.
As well as white.
Yeah, so that's interesting there. It's certainly not quite the case there, the sphere. Very, very bright in the Amex colours right now, as the two McLaren drivers make their way around. Piastri is on a set of...
Hards.
It is hards, yeah. Yeah, hard tyres for Piastri. Wonder what Niles is on.
He's got Flover's paint in the back of his car, so they're doing some CFD testing.
Indeed. So going back to the comments here, of course, we've got Liwe in the comments. Great to have them all here. Rod's here. Hello, boys. Hope you have a good morning. Sleep F123. Haven't seen you for a fair while. Can't wait to see the new winter mediate tyres in the race. Enjoy that. Percy's joining us. Hello, hello, everybody. Davey's here. Green flag, of course, to get going. And Bill Lean, of course, is joining us after yesterday as well. Saying good morning, guys. So good morning to all of you, and let us know where you guys are tuning in from. We'd love to know where all of you guys are watching from. And, of course, just go and hit up a message and say hello to us all. We'd love to see who's in the chats with us, and be sure to ask us some questions. Give us your thoughts about the Las Vegas Grand Prix as we go along. Be sure to smash that like button right now if you haven't already, and subscribe to this channel as well as our partner channel, the main motorsports channel, Forever Motorsports.
So we've got a couple of drivers out on circuit at the moment now. We've got Russell, Zhou, Bottas, Hamilton and Sainz joining along with Piastri and Norris, as we see Piastri diving into the pits now at the end of his lap. Piastri was on a set of hards, then we've got Norris on a set of softs, Russell on a set of softs as well, Zhou and Bottas on mediums, Hamilton on a set of softs, and then Sainz and Leclerc both on a set of mediums.
Yeah, so I think we're going to start seeing a lot of activity in the track. I think a lot of people will come out and do race simulations first. You'll probably see the first 20 to 30 minutes doing some race simulations.
I'll be quite surprised if we do get quali sims too early on, because the track is going to grip up quite quickly now.
Exactly that. And you want to try and get a much better idea when there is more grip on the track. And of course, for quali later, you want to try and make sure there's as much grip on the track before making those tests. As we now see the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso make his way out. He's also on a set of hards. So we're going to see a good indication of what should be race pace as the Ferraris are on medium tyres.
That was Lance Stroll you were looking at.
Oh, well, the other Aston Martin. Nonetheless,
but they have both gone out.
I was about to say, I think they have both gone out. So, you know, the audience wouldn't know if I was wrong or not. But it's fine, yes. Either way, both Aston Martins have made their way out.
Fernando Alonso wasn't on hards.
Yes. Charles Leclerc, of course, was our quickest driver yesterday. He's on the medium tyre right now. He's following Lewis Hamilton around the track. He's going around on an out lap / sighter lap before he gets going with regards to his simulations. And I'm very keen to see the race pace of the Ferraris on those medium tyres, because the race pace was looking very good yesterday as well, very much matching that of the Red Bulls, if not a couple of times beating it. So very keen to see what happens. Carlos Sainz, of course, in the car number 55, currently stands to have a 10-place grid penalty.
And he goes wide into turn one.
Currently stands to have a 10-place grid penalty, of course. Now, how much is that going to affect his confidence for tomorrow?
It won't affect his confidence, but it certainly will affect his race.
Well, I just think, you know, he's not going to be as up for it as he might well have been for, if you know, because the car seems to have pace.
I think he's up for it. He's going to be fighting through the field tomorrow, no matter where he starts.
I just think that it's upsetting for him that he could have been challenging right near the top there, and he knows that he's going to be starting further back, fighting in the midfield. And as Reece says, the very rather timid start there, unfortunately going wide at turn one.
Just struggling to get temperature into the brakes by the looks of things. He just doesn't get any braking into turn one and goes wide ever so slightly over the white lines, and then is able to pull it back onto the racing line. Max Verstappen not currently in his car, as George Russell takes the fastest time of the day.
Yeah, 1:43.6. It's very, very slow. We're starting to just get to grips again with the track.
He's on old mediums though, to be fair, as is Valtteri Bottas, who puts in a 1:39.875.
Yeah. So we saw 1:35s yesterday. Those are the quickest times we're putting in. Charles Leclerc put a 1:35.2. I imagine today with the quali sims we'll see some 1:34s get put by all of the drivers. 1:35s, 1:34s will be more or less the target time for qualifying later on today. And again, you'll catch that on this channel. We'll go straight to that stream straight after this and review the session then.
Carlos Sainz abandoned that lap he was on. He has now restarted it in the final two corners.
Yeah, so let's see what let's see what Carlos Sainz can do in that Ferrari, of course. He's on medium tyres. This will be a good indication of race pace. I'm sure he's also on relatively high fuel, though the fact that he's abandoned the lap means that he might not actually be doing race simulations so much as following simulations / just trying to get some pace into those tyres. He's got the DRS open, so I think this is just a general idea of pace on those medium tyres.
I have no clue, to be very honest. We never really know what their run plans are.
But at the moment, Carlos Sainz goes fastest through the first sector, and he's setting the second sector alight.
Yeah, indeed he is. So the Ferrari still certainly showing what they are capable of and strutting their stuff as Carlos Sainz makes his way around now sector 2, and which is a very, very fast section. Of course, it's got the Las Vegas strip straight, then it's followed by that couple of corners before another long straight.
That's sector 3.
Yes. Oh, it is sector 3. It is
Sector
sector
3
3. I do
has
apologize.
the
He's
long
gone into
straight,
sector 3 as he's put in a 33.5, which has been beaten quite significantly by his teammate Charles Leclerc, who put a 32.5 in sector 2. So a whole second difference between the two Ferrari drivers in sector 2 as Carlos Sainz now gets towards the end of his fast lap here, coming down that last straight before going over the final corner to go obviously into the start finish straight. He puts in a time of a 1:39.3, the new quickest time, but it won't stand there for very long.
No, certainly won't stand there for very long, especially when it's only just faster than Valtteri Bottas in second.
No, and Charles Leclerc there goes at 1:38.9, so there you go, already 0.4 seconds quicker than his teammate. Billy Lean is from Syria, apparently. Well, great to have you here. Percy watching from Germany, trying not to fall back asleep, as are we.
Yes.
F123 saying, yeah, you missed the triple header because you went to Australia for a holiday. I mean, that must be quite a hot holiday, I imagine. And asking, do you think McLaren will have good pace? Well, again, I think this session will show their quality pace, at least. They did a lot of race simulations yesterday. Oh, my word.
Big lockup.
Big lockup from, is that Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah, no,
No,
that's
Joe
Zhou
Guanyu. I'm always going to get confused with these
yeah.
cars. This race weekend, the Alfa Romeos and the Mercedes look almost identical. It is quite scary. But yeah, Zhou Guanyu there just locking up quite badly around the track. Nico Hülkenberg getting all prepped and ready to get out on track as well. It's quite a few drivers who have yet to make their way out. Both the Red Bulls, both the Williams, both the AlphaTauris, the Alpines and the Haas drivers. Although Magnussen is now currently on an outlap, so Hülkenberg will be following his teammate very shortly.
Bottas sets the fastest first sector now. He's coming through the middle sector and just waiting to see what he can do through the final sector there as well. But very interesting to see who has got pace out here at the moment. A lot of work going on, I think this is Logan Sargent's car, number 2. Yes.
Yeah, Logan Sargent's got quite a lot of things happening to his car right now. Not good to see in the Williams garage. I'm sure it's all fine. Maybe just getting a couple of things.
Well, the work looks a little bit frantic there, so I don't think it is all just fine.
Well, it's Logan Sargent. It's much of a muchness. Bottas does put in the fastest lap now, 1:38.3. So we're starting to head more towards those mid-130s already in this session. We've already had 10 minutes. Not too much has happened out on track, but we'll bring it all to you as and when it all happens. Of course, we've just crossed 100 viewers. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It is early on in most places in the world. Be sure to smash that like button, guys. Please, it really does help us get a little bit more recommended, and so we can get some more people here and have a better chat. The more people we have, a better chat we can have, and a better stream for all of you. So be sure to go and like the video. And again, subscribe to our other channel, Forever Motorsports. We do our reviews there. At the moment, we're doing our main streams on this channel, and we're going to go straight to the quality stream straight after this. Magnussen on a set of mediums is going around relatively alright, not too quick, and he finishes up his lap at 1:40.1, and he moves down into 6th place now. As
Bottas actually ended up taking that fastest
I did
spot
say,
away.
yeah.
That's really interesting.
well, I mean, it's interesting-ish for now because we're going to see these times get beaten as Charles Leclerc on another push lap here, putting in some greens. Sainz is also putting in a couple of purple sectors, mini sectors that is. So I think the two Ferraris will go ahead of the Alfa Romeo very shortly. And the Mercedes, of course, are out there doing some race simulations as well.
George Russell says he's received some warning or issue on his dashboard, but he's been told to continue by the team. Charles Leclerc going even faster now in first and second sector. Hopefully he can take away that top spot from Valtteri Bottas. I'm sure he will be able to.
Indeed, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to follow here. Charles Leclerc putting in some more purple mini sectors in sector 2 as it comes towards that final couple of corners there. And Sainz finishes up at sector 2 with 32.1. The new fastest time, though, Charles Leclerc takes away with 32.0.
So, Charles Leclerc now coming through the final sector. Hamilton's also out on track, still on a set of softs, but Sainz is not able to take away any purple sectors from Leclerc. Leclerc's about to finish up his lap now, setting purple once again in the final sector, waiting for him to go through the last few corners and come across the line to see where he finishes up.
Yeah, Sainz's teammate will cross the line first. He'll move into preliminary first. At 137, much quicker already from the Ferraris. And now Charles Leclerc comes across the line at 136.5.
They're giving each other slipstreams as well.
Yeah, so Charles Leclerc getting a big advantage there from his teammate, but he does move half a second quicker than Carlos Sainz. Finishing out that lap at 136.5. Now, these are on medium tyres, which is good to see because it's already very close to the soft tyre runs that we saw yesterday from quite a few constructors.
Yes, it is. And it certainly bodes well for qualifying later. I think we're going to get some very, very fast lap times on the softs.
So Lindy is letting us know in the comments, apparently the drivers cannot see the sphere because the walls are so high. So maybe that's why they've no longer had to bother with regards to the colours they put on it.
Then. That's good for them that it's not bothering their eyesight.
Yeah, so Magnussen getting a little bit upset with Charles Leclerc, but I think the main...
That was actually his engineer.
Was it?
Yes.
Interesting. So, yeah, his engineer just getting upset in Magnussen's head there in terms of talking about Leclerc right ahead of Magnussen as Magnussen was getting ready to start or finish a hot lap for himself. Bottas currently still sits in third. Did quite well yesterday in FP2. Finished up, I think, in 5th position, which really wasn't too bad. And yeah, it's very good to see. F123 is asking, what's our favourite livery for this Grand Prix? What is your favourite livery this Grand Prix?
I think the zebra AlphaTauris.
You like it?
Yes.
I don't like it. I must say, for all that it looks a lot like a Mercedes, I do quite enjoy the Alfa Romeo livery because if you go and look at it up close, it's very, very cool. It's not great to see from far away, as we're literally watching Valtteri Bottas. It's very reminiscent, of course, of which car did we say it was? It was the old Renault days?
No. It was, well, yes, it was the old...
Anyway, it's all fine, but it's got the gold rims and it's got the black car itself. As we see, Rob McElhenney, I think his name is anyway. He's McElhenney, or however you want to say it. Of course, co-owner with Ryan Reynolds of Wrexham Football Club, and they're also part owners in the Alpine team. He's sitting there in the box and he's watching Esteban Ocon, who's currently not set a time, get ready to go around the track and set himself off on a set of softs in this session. So let's see what Alpine can do. They weren't also very good yesterday. Hopefully they'll improve a bit more today. Magnussen's moved into third at 137.59 in that Haas. Bottas now moves down into fourth. As Mercedes still going around in 5th and 6th place. We're still yet to see activity from the Red Bulls, the Williams, and the AlphaTauri. So waiting to see them get out on track. Max Verstappen didn't look very rushed to get out into track as we're now 15 minutes into the session.
Yes, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez still have no time in the board. There's still a lot of drivers with no time on the board. From 15th all the way down to 20th, there are no lap times on the board for them. Actually, no. From 11th down to 20th.
But at least those drivers are out on track right now, going and doing some out laps. So we're seeing some more activity out on the track. Pierre Gasly has started his first times lapped of P3 as Piastri moves into 5th position on a set of mediums, so 138.7. Still quite a bit slower than the Ferraris, who are literally 2.2 seconds quicker on the same set of tyres. Sainz is now setting the track ablaze as well. Sector 1 and Sector 2, purple sectors for himself as it comes into Sector 3 now. Let's see how he fares. Charles Leclerc not improving upon his lap times this lap, but Carlos Sainz looking like he could put the new fastest lap in for the day right now.
Just watching Pierre Gasly down the back straight, he weaves ever so slightly in certain points. So interesting to see there. Yeah, Carlos Sainz is going even faster at the moment out on circuit. He's about to finish up a lap and go faster than his teammates. Where does he put himself now at the end of this lap? A 135.9, so finally into the 135s this evening.
On a set of mediums already into the 135, so do we not think the 133s would be then a more appropriate pace for the soft tyre, maybe even the 132s? I mean, we might see a significant increase in pace because the Ferraris, the quickest time yesterday was a 135.2 on a set of softs. We're already in the 135s on a set of mediums from these Ferrari drivers. Early on, there's not that much rubber on the track right now. So, I mean, I think we could see some really, really quick times. Just watching a replay here of a McLaren just taking the curves a little bit too hard. I didn't see who it was.
It was Lando Norris. He was actually taking it perfectly through there.
Well, he did scrape a little bit of his floor, but yeah. Lance Stroll now finishing up a lap for himself in a set of mediums. What is he going to do today, Reece?
Yeah, Lance Stroll, he's down in P6 at the moment.
nothing special once again for Stroll.
Yeah, Alonso's just finished up a lap. There you go, some laps from the Aston Martins now trying to challenge a little bit more. Lance Stroll's in 6th at 138.6. Fernando Alonso, 136.8. What tyres are they on? I didn't quite see. I think Lance Stroll was on medium,
Mediums.
so...
Medium.
Yeah, Alonso's also on the medium tyres. So that's good to see from the Aston Martins, to see that they do also have pace on those medium tyres. We saw Fernando Alonso do quite well yesterday in FP2. And I'm keen to see what they can do today as well. As Ocon moves into 3rd at 136.7.
Just watching what the Hasses are doing out on circuit. Kevin Magnussen's done quite well up into P6. Nico Hülkenberg, though, all the way down in P14. He's finishing up a lap now. Where can he put himself? I think he did finish up that lap. No, he didn't. He's still coming through the final sector now. Waiting for him to cross the line. He does so now, and he puts himself behind his teammate in P7.
Yeah, Hülkenberg right up there in P7 now, 137.6. That is just put in now. The interesting thing about Ocon and Gasly, those two Alpines that have moved themselves into 3rd and 5th respectively now, is they are on the soft tyre, however, and they're all the drivers around them on the medium tyres. So yeah, I think they still need to find a bit more pace to the Alpines, because if the medium tyres are putting in 135s, one imagines that the soft tyres will be quite a bit quicker than that.
Well, it also depends how old your tyres are. Look at the tyre age in our graphics there, Mark. Some of those tyres are really quite old.
Yeah, it's exactly that, to be fair, but I don't think they're quite accurate, because Ocon and Gasly did finish those laps on a set of softs, and it did say in our timing board that they're on mediums. Oh, my word, yeah, hello.
Charles Leclerc getting very, very dangerously close to Kevin Magnussen there.
I wonder if Kevin Magnussen's going to have a moan on the radio with regards to that.
I'm sure there will be.
Oh, my word. Charles Leclerc just, I think he got irritated
that
with
was
him.
Kevin Magnussen's fault. He was on the racing line, and Charles Leclerc was on a hot lap.
Yeah, so not great there at all. Watching a replay here of Kevin Magnussen get over. Oh, he just
Locked up
yeah.
for the yellow flag that we saw earlier.
Indeed. So we've had our first runoff into the runoff section there from Kevin Magnussen for the day. We'll see lots more of that before the end of the session, of course. We're already a third of the way through. Oh, there's some shake of their heads from the Haas engineers there with regards to, I think, the instant there. Sergio Perez now is out on track in that Red Bull on a set of soft tyres. Could we see now some proper pace getting put in from these Red Bulls? Let's see what's happening on the track. Charles Leclerc put in 2 purple sectors. Sector 1 and Sector 2 are purple. Sector 3, however, he's not putting the best times. Although now seeing a purple mini sector, we might see a new fastest time from Charles Leclerc to go ahead of his teammate in the 135s. But let's see what Perez can do. He's got a 27.5 in the first sector, which is not far away from Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc puts in a new best time at 135.9. It's only just better than Carlos Sainz. But let's see what Sergio Perez can do, as Max Verstappen, I think, is also gearing up to get out of the pits, hopefully very soon. Perez on a set of softs, as I say, is going around right now. Not too bad from himself. He's very close to those times of the Ferraris, but not quite beating
them on a set of softs. That's concerning.
I think this is maybe just the first. I think this is maybe just the first lap, just to get a bit more grip around before. Yeah, I think he should be a little bit quicker going forward. Also, I'm not seeing a DRS that's open, to be fair.
Yeah,
DRS is not
just
open.
Getting some data.
The DRS is not open on the back straight there, the Las Vegas strip straight. Although, is that it now open, I think? I can't quite tell. No, it's not open, so it is closed. So, yeah. So, he's currently doing this lap without DRS and still puts himself up into 5th at 136.68. However, still think even soft tyres without DRS should still be there and thereabouts with the medium tyres.
It's a 26 lap old tyre, though.
Well, it currently says it's medium lap tyres, so we know that that's wrong because obviously he's on the soft tyres. So, don't quite know how old his tyres are, but yeah, they might be a little bit older at least. So, Gasly's up in 3rd with a 136.4, not too bad for him. Alonso's still in 4th, Perez in 5th, Ocon in 6th, Stroll in 7th, Norris in 8th, Magnussen and Hülkenberg 9th and 10th. The 2 drivers yet to put in times, Max Verstappen and Alex Albon, as well as Sargent, of course, but Sargent is currently on a hot lap. So let's see what he can do. Daniel Ricciardo just, unfortunately, oh my word, really missed the turns there.
A little bit muddled up into that chicane section by the sphere. It's quite a difficult sector, and we've seen a lot of drivers make the same mistake that Daniel Rick has just done.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of mistakes around the track, which is, I know it sounds stupid to say, but it's good to see because we want to see drivers finding it tough out there, finding it difficult, so that they have to make sure they're on their A game throughout. And the moment they make a mistake, other opportunities for drivers to pounce and take that position away from them in the race itself, as well as in qualifying, of course, because qualifying, you're really going to push it, you're really going to take it to the next level. And I think you might have a few instances there where, you know, if major drivers are on a fast lap, they have to nail it in one attempt, and they don't. That could be causing major problem for them in terms of times. As Max Verstappen now starts a fast lap for himself, he puts in a new purple sector in Sector 1. Interested to see what tires he's on there.
Yellow flag in Sector 3. I see that has already been changed to green. We'll find out who that was relatively soon. But what can Max Verstappen do now in that middle sector, as you say, Mark?
Yeah, so I think he's on a set of softs. He is indeed on a set of softs. So it's to be expected that he should be quicker than the Ferraris. I don't know if he's opening his... Sector. Yeah, he's not actually. I think he must not be opening his DRS then. Let's see if he does when he comes around the Las Vegas strip section. Of course, the car does look... I mean, the Red Bull livery actually is growing on me very, very quickly in terms of this Grand Prix livery that they've got. He is still up on Leclerc's time.
Ever so slightly, 0.007 up on Leclerc. As there's a hard yellow flag now being shown.
No, it's green now.
Green again.
Yeah, so I was just watching that just to see if it would turn green. Max Verstappen, the DRS is not opening for him as he finishes up his lap in third position, still behind his Ferraris at 136.1. He was ahead of Charles Leclerc's time throughout the lap until Sector 3, where he was unable to get ahead of Charles Leclerc's time. So, still in the 136s on a set of softs, but didn't open the DRS, so this could be race pace simulations. Let's see what Perez is doing. He's back in the pits, so maybe not, because that was straight into the pits for Perez, basically, after not even too many laps. Max Verstappen, of course, let's see if he will come into the pits at the end of this cool down lap.
I think it's maybe to see if there is big lockup for Valtteri Bottas. Oh, no, not a lockup. He goes into the runoff zone.
I think he almost missed it. I don't even think he locked up. I think he just missed it.
Just listening.
Oh.
Yeah, just had a slight rear lockup, which caused him to go deep into turn 14.
So Lance Stroll now is currently 1.1 seconds behind the leaders on a set of mediums, as well as the Ferraris, of course, set those times on mediums. But I'm hoping we can see a bit more from him this weekend. He showed a little bit of a glimpse of what he can do in Formula 1 every now and then in terms of his Brazilian performance. But hopefully he can follow it up with a much better level of consistency, I think, because we sometimes see this from Lance Stroll, where he does something that says, oh, you know what, actually, maybe this guy can do something, and then he follows it up with a rubbish performance. So he really needs to do quite well this weekend, I feel, to try and get Aston Martin over the line in terms of the Constructors' Championship, get as many points as possible to give themselves the best shot at finishing relatively high up, considering their poor midfield, mid-season battles that they had. And they've been doing a lot better towards the end of the season. We're almost halfway through the session. We're starting to see a lot more soft tyres out on track. The Williams of Sargent Albon going around. Albon finishing up a lap time for himself. It's not the quickest, but just watching a replay of Alex Albon, speaking of, funny enough, he comes round one of the fast turns there. He almost looks like he's losing a bit of power. No, he just misses the turn completely. And just dives off and waits for both McLarens, in fact, to go past before rejoining the track. So,
good question here from Lindiwe. She says, cheeky question, do we think that the Haas's aero team is secretly rooting for Kevin Magnussen at the moment? Hülkenberg is in the old version of the Haas car this weekend, and Magnussen is in the new version. They were given the options due to suit their different driving styles. Very interesting.
Well, I'm not sure they're going to necessarily be rooting for one more than the other. They gave options, I suppose.
Well, I think you're always going to be rooting for your newer car, but Nico Hülkenberg is much faster.
Yeah, I think Nico Hülkenberg right now is up in fourth. He's just put that time in, just by the way, at 1:36, and it's just been taken away from me. I can't quite see it, but nonetheless, not too far behind. On a set of mediums, only 0.3 seconds behind Leclerc's time, so that's brilliant from Haas.
Sergio Perez, though, going around out on circuit at the moment, having set the fastest first and second sector. What can he do now in the final sector? That is where it all really matters. He's not going particularly fast there. I see a few yellow mini sectors.
Yeah, indeed, but I think he still should be relatively close. So there you go, a purple mini sector now getting put in for himself as well. I imagine the DRS is opening this time. Let's see if it is. I think hopefully it is, as he's coming down the Las Vegas strip section, which is a very, very cool straight.
He finishes up his lap now and goes fastest with a 135.1 on a set of softs.
Yeah, and I think DRS was open, so it's good to see the Red Bulls finding a lot more pace. It's already the fastest lap time we've seen this weekend in Vegas. It was quicker than Charles Leclerc's quickest time yesterday, a 1:35.1 from the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. Now Max Verstappen, he'll come out of the pits very shortly, and what will he be able to do?
And what can the Ferraris do on a set of softs as well?
Exactly. So the Red Bulls are the first major team on softs. So I'm keen to see what the other teams can do. Mercedes, we've yet to see much from them. Of course, they've been doing a lot of simulations on those medium tires down in 18th and 19th. I think they did very high fuel loads in the beginning. They've just come into the pits, well, at least Russell has. I think Hamilton will come into the pits very shortly as well. And then they'll come out in a set of softs. Albon in a set of softs put a 1:36.3. It's not as good as we'd hopefully expect from the Williams on a set of softs, but still not too bad.
For a Williams.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I think we will see that time drop, as we saw yesterday. Albon put it a couple of times in yesterday, put himself near the top, and then at the end of the session only finished off in 12th. As Alonso vamps up to start a hot lap on mediums.
Verstappen's starting a hot lap as well now. He set the fastest first sector out there, and he's coming through the second sector. We'll keep an eye on his lap time. Just continuing with Fernando Alonso, he should also be able to have a really good weekend. His Aston Martin, as you say, has been gaining in pace over the last few race weekends. Hopefully they can get it right this weekend.
Yeah, indeed. As I said, we're following him here on a fast lap on a set of mediums. He's put in a new personal best in Sector 1. No purple mini sectors, of course, is not to be expected, though. He is on medium tyres, and we're now starting to see those soft tyre runs from the Red Bulls, so they will be putting in most of those purple sectors. As Max Verstappen ramps up to end off his lap, he's put a purple sector in Sector 2 as well. Let's see what he does in Sector 3, going around very, very quickly on those set of softs. And only personal bests, though, in Sector 3. So, again, he's losing a little bit of time to the Ferraris. I think that's because of the long straights there in Sector 3, where the Ferraris clearly must have more pace. Although a purple mini sector is put in, though, now a couple of times from Max Verstappen.
The Ferraris do gain it back in that final sector quite a bit with their straight line speed, as Max Verstappen is the first driver to venture into the 134s this weekend. A 1:34.6 for Max Verstappen.
So I imagine that we will definitely see 1:33s as our qualifying times, because I think, we've just seen soft tyres here. We've still got quite a bit of time left in the session, and I think there's still some more pace to be found out there for Red Bull, as well as for Ferrari in terms of the qualifying pace. So the 1:33s is definitely on the cards. I'm keen to see the Ferraris come out on a set of softs. They're still on mediums, doing a few race runs and getting some more data in. As Alonso finishes up his lap on a set of mediums, a 1:36.4, so still a little bit slow compared to the Ferraris, but not too bad, actually, I suppose. Only 0.4 seconds behind Charles Leclerc's quickest time.
I'm interested now in seeing what the two Ferraris can do on a set of softs as well. Hopefully they'll come out soon.
That's what I said, yeah. I was saying I'm very keen to see what they can do on the set of softs. Still on medium tyres right now. As we have half an hour left. Doing half an hour left of the session still. Logan Sargent is currently in 9th on a set of softs. He's going around. As I say, our timing boards have got all the wrong tyres for various drivers. They've got most of them on mediums. That's not actually correct. They're all over the place in terms of tyres. So if I can run through those tyres that they've set in terms of their positions: Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez on the softs, Charles Leclerc, Sainz and Hulkenberg on mediums, Albon on softs, Alonso on mediums, Logan Sargent on the softs, and Ocon also, I think, on the softs. I was watching a replay of Logan Sargent go slightly wide at one of those turns there. He's being asked on the radio, "Are you okay?" Yeah, all good. I don't know why the engineer felt the need to go and ask if he's fine.
He just went a little bit deep into the one corner.
Yeah.
No issues.
No issues whatsoever. Albon now putting in a personal best in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Let's see what he does in Sector 3. Only is not improving upon his times currently in Sector 3. He might be close to it, but I don't think he's improving too much upon his times, though it might be a new quick lap for him. Could he move ahead of Nico Hulkenberg, who's just ahead of him in terms of lap time? Possibly, but I don't think he's going to improve upon his time all that much. Haas, I'm very impressed with Hulkenberg's time. It's on a set of mediums. He's right up there with the Ferraris.
Albon's putting in some purple mini sectors, though, Mark. He goes up into 3rd. 1:35.6 there for Albon. Brilliant lap time.
Yeah, on a set of softs. It's not too bad there for the Williams. That's a bit more like it.
It's a little bit warmer than yesterday. The track temperature is 16 degrees Celsius. Air temperature is 16 degrees Celsius. Track temperature is 18 degrees Celsius. So a good 4 degrees warmer track temperature than it was yesterday.
Yeah, great to see there, of course. So we're not now, we're more than halfway through the session. We are now starting to head into quali sim territory. I imagine we'll get there more at the 20-minute left mark. The two Mercedes are in the pits, probably ramping up to set the car up for qualifying, I think, and making sure they get everything ready for those quali sims. Ricciardo and Tsunoda, we're now going to see what they can do. Ricciardo, of course, relatively decent form in the last 2 races. 4th place finish in Mexico and an 8th place finish in Brazil. Of course, he got that 4th place finish in Mexico, I think, after those 2 disqualifications to Charles Leclerc and Hamilton. But
In Mexico.
not Mexico. When did they get? No, that was before.
US
That was the US Grand Prix. So nonetheless, Ricciardo up there in 4th was brilliant. That was I think that was more that was his qualifying pace. That is, I think 4th and 8th.
It was Mexico that he did well.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did do well in Mexico. I'm just saying, I was just looking at the time in terms of 4th position. He definitely qualified in 4th. That was where
And he
he
dropped
was.
down to 8th.
He dropped down.
The race.
Yeah. So his qualifying form has been quite good these last 2 races. Can we expect the same sort of things from him as he starts a quali sim? We hope on a set of softs. Let's see what he can do.
Yes, just watching his times out there at the moment, it looks like we've also got Logan Sargent and Yuki Tsunoda on some hard tires at the moment. I think all of those graphics are incorrect, so. But just continuing to follow on with Daniel Ricciardo, he hasn't set a particularly good first or second sector at the moment. So high fuel loads.
Yeah, I think Ricciardo is gonna need to see what he can do on lower fuel. Or maybe that's what he must definitely be. I think he's already 1.4 seconds down of Verstappen's time. It shouldn't be that far off, even for an AlphaTauri and a set of softs. Shouldn't be that far down, let's put it that way. So certainly must be high fuel loads, must be some race simulations, or otherwise.
He's backed up in the middle sector.
Yeah.
By the looks of things.
So yeah, not going through the gears as quickly. Yeah, so I think we can start sort of getting an idea of the race pace from a lot of these cars here. The Ferraris are still impressing me. They seemingly are the quickest on those medium tires than any other constructor. They still went quicker than the Red Bulls on those medium tires. I mean, Red Bull had to go around a few times on those softs before they could get ahead of the Ferraris, who are on the medium tires. Eventually, Max Verstappen did put in a very competitive
their first
time.
run was without DRS.
Yeah, I know, it's exactly that. And they put in a much better time now. Max Verstappen also going round on a current lap. He's put in a couple of purple mini sectors in Sector 1, but still gone slower in Sector 1 and now going slower in Sector 2. So it's a bit of an odd one. As we're looking at Kevin Magnussen, who's in the pits now in 13th position. He's not looking particularly happy, I think, in the Haas. He might be considering the setup right now because, of course, he's quite far away from his teammate Nico Hülkenberg, which is not good to see. Haas having such different form in terms of where their drivers are finishing. But we'll have to wait and see if that continues on for the rest of the practice session. Watching another replay of Logan Sargent. Maybe this is why the engineers are asking him if he's okay. Does he make another mistake? Just gets slightly wide. Does he touch the wall? Oof, my word, gets very, very close to it though.
Just taking it to the absolute edge at the moment is Logan Sargent, but not hitting the wall, which is relatively crucial. Yeah, he doesn't hit the wall. Just gets very, very close.
So Logan Sargent's getting the closest to that wall out of any driver. Yesterday he got a bit too close. He did actually hit it slightly.
I don't think you necessarily want to get very close to that wall, but hey, yeah. Logan Sargent can say he's got.
I'll tell you what, if he hits it in qualifying on the race, we can't say it wasn't coming. Yuki Tsunoda finishing up a lap for himself. He finishes in 8th position at 136.2 on a set of softs. So a little bit better for the AlphaTauri, but still quite a way off of those Red Bulls, 1.6 seconds behind. So still need to find some pace for the AlphaTauris. Of course, that is the partner company to Red Bull. So I think we're still waiting for Mercedes as Russell's now out on track. What tires is he on? Is he going to be on a set of softs? I think he is on a set of softs, you know. Which I think, you know what the thing is, the track map has got the correct tires on. I think potentially, and the timing board's not so much. Russell seems to be on a set of softs. We're going to see if he is. And if he is, let's see what sort of times they can put in terms of qualifying.
Yes, just looking at who's out on circuit at the moment, setting any times out there. I think Oscar Piastri's on a hot lap, and I think that's about it. Everyone else is on race runs or slow runs right now.
Yeah, so not too much action in terms of timing boards being set alight, as Piastri and Norris are also in the pits right now. I'm really hoping to see some really good soft tyre runs from those two McLarens and get a much better idea of quality pace for later. Looking at George Russell's qualifying form, 8th, 4th, 8th, and 6th. So very much in the top 10, but towards the back of it in these last 3 races in the Americas. So what can he do in Las Vegas? I think he's going to be in much the same sort of area, actually.
just watching on board with George Russell, he's on a warm-up lap right now. Leclerc's still out on circuit with Carlos Sainz on those mediums. They've been out there for the entire session on those tyres. So very interesting that they're running for quite a long time after putting in those hot laps.
And looking at their times, what I was going to say, is the fact that they're all in the 136s more or less the whole time on those mediums. So it's really good race pace, I'm hoping, because nobody was meeting those sort of times consistently when they were doing most of their race simulations earlier, as well as yesterday.
Well, Albon's just put in another 135.
I think that's not race pace though so much, because I think he's on the soft tyre,
Yes.
and he's doing a couple of ramping up and doing a few potential quali sims or slash, fast race sims. I don't think he's got too much fuel in the car. As all of the various constructors are now getting all their drivers into the pits, the Mercedes are out there again on out laps. A lot of drivers are in the pits. I think they're gearing up to get going with qualifying.
Well, they're gearing up for qualifying simulation.
Sorry, is what I meant. Yes, indeed. So McLaren looks to be quite a lot of work happening on Lando Norris's car at the back.
Maybe just some final preparations for his last few runs. It doesn't look too frantic there. Maybe just making some adjustments on the beam wing. Just looking at the Red Bulls now coming into the pits as well on their medium tyres, they still look relatively good in terms of wear.
Yeah, they're
still
not
look
looking
very
too
good.
bad at all. So it's good to see for Red Bull. The tyre degradation not bad for them. They were saying it was good yesterday in FP2 that they could go on those tyres for quite a while. So maybe that's going to be their plan. Hamilton, however, was complaining about degradation on his tyres, as he now starts a soft lap and he's got a Ferrari right behind him there. I think he's going to try and follow him the whole time here, is the Ferrari. I think that's of Charles Leclerc, is it? Well, we don't know.
Yes, it is. Leclerc behind Hamilton.
So, going to be interesting to see if he follows him for a long period there. It's not got the DRS open, so clearly not going to bother too much, just getting a little bit of an idea. As Hamilton's obviously on a set of softs, starting at some runs here. Are these quali sims? Are these race sims just on softs? He's 0.5 down on Verstappen already in the first sector, so I'm hoping this is not their quali pace, because if it is, it's sad. One assumes and hopes that it's not, and that they've got a bit more fuel on board right now. The DRS is opening though, so we'll have to follow Hamilton and Russell very carefully. Russell though does put a purple mini sector in sector 2, so maybe they are pushing it a little bit.
Possibly they are. We would expect them to be on relatively high loads of fuel for their first quali run, and then they'll stay out there for a couple of laps and let the fuel run out. But as you say, Russell put in a purple mini sector in sector 2. He set another purple mini sector in sector 3.
I think Russell's time is going to be far more indicative of Mercedes' pace than Hamilton this time round. As Hamilton comes towards that start-finish straight, he crosses the line, moves into 6th position at 136.0. Russell now following his teammate. He's coming down that last straight as well before the start-finish. Let's see where he'll finish up. I think he's going to go quite a bit quicker. I think he might even challenge for that first place position. I think a 134 might be on the cards here. No, a 135.1, just missing out on it. Not too bad though for Mercedes. A 135.1, they still have some pace to be found, but it's a little bit better from them in terms of quali pace potentially we could find from them. So in the right areas they're now heading.
Yuki Tsunoda's been given a black and white flag for not listening to the race director's instructions and going over the line at the pit entry once again.
Once again, we're seeing that. So pit entry, again, a problem. Do you think the drivers will request the line to be painted a different color before tomorrow?
I don't think they'll be able to repaint it before tomorrow, but before next year for sure.
Well, I don't see a reason why they can't go onto the track and paint it. Watching a replay here of George Russell as he finishes up his lap, gets quite a lot of brake dust out of the car there, and also scrapes ever so slightly on the track, of course. Just looking at how low those cars are. Charles Leclerc, also a replay of him. Does he go from the runoff area? Just has a slight nudge there, comes very close to the wall, I think it was, and gets very close to the back of that Red Bull. Just gets slightly outdone by that corner, and luckily stays away from the wall. 6 centimeters he was away from the wall, and on a hard left-hander with the wall coming up on your right, it is quite close. Luckily avoids any sort of contact, as we are only 18 minutes away from the end of the session.
Yes, not long left to go, as Zhou Guanyu is setting a fast lap out there for himself. He's about to finish up that lap. Just waiting for the rest of those top drivers to start on their final hot laps for the session.
Yeah, so a lot of drivers still in the pits there. We've got the 2 Ferraris now made their way into the pits eventually, finally. So we're going to see them come out in a set of softs soon. The two Mercedes, of course, are out there already. The two Red Bulls are in the pits. The Williams of Alex Albon's in the pits at least. Hamilton's on the radio. We'll find out, I'm sure, eventually if that's anything serious. I don't think it is. And we see Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso are still waiting to get going for their quali laps. Having said that, I think Alonso's out on a set of softs, putting in some times right now. He's put a new personal best, 26.9 in Sector 1. That's not too bad for him. That's quicker than Russell and Perez.
Yes, Piastri's currently on a hot lap right now. What can those two drivers do on the set of softs? The McLaren should have some pace. He hasn't set any purple sectors at the moment, but relatively quick in the first and second sector. 27.2 in the first sector, 31.5 in the second sector. For reference, Max Verstappen's done a 31.4 in the second sector, so they're not far off at the moment.
So Piastri on a set of softs here, not doing too badly, as you say. 31.5 in Sector 2. His third sector right now has currently got a couple of medium... Oh, I say medium. I see yellow and I see medium. Has currently got not his best times, although now putting in more personal best. This will be his quickest lap time of the day. He moves into fifth at 1:35.3. Is that a good time for Piastri on a set of softs? I think we're starting, of course, the quali simulations here. It's good. I still think they need to find some more pace.
Yes, they definitely need to find some more pace. Fernando Alonso, though, up in P3 is not bad for now, but we do expect this track to grip up a lot more than at 1:34.9.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keen to see what the Ferraris are. The Ferraris will give us a very good indicative pace for a quali sim when they should come out of the pits soon. I'm very keen to see if we can get into the 133s this session already, because if we do, you might even see low 133s in the qualifying session later on, maybe even, out of nowhere, 132. It'll be impressive if we can get there. We're following Valtteri Bottas, who's down all the way in 20th, but he's putting in two personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Couple of purple mini sectors in Sector 1 there, or at least just one. Let's see what he does in Sector 3. I'm keen to see if he can move himself right up into the top 4, as Russell's got a purple sector in Sector 2.
But his final sector is terrible.
Well, they've now got a purple mini sector in the final sector, and he goes fastest. A 1:34.5. Much better from the Mercedes there.
But a very bad final sector, so there should be more time in there for him, as Logan Sargent takes away that final fastest sector with a 36.1 through there. He finishes up his lap time for 6th place, and then Valtteri Bottas goes ahead of him in 5th.
I think the 133s are definitely on the cards here as an easy reach here, maybe for those top constructors. I think the low 134s will be a good quality indicative pace, but I think the 133s are definitely on the cards for at least the Ferraris when they should get out of the pits hopefully soon. Where does Bottas finish? He finishes in 5th. Not bad for himself. 135.039, just going ahead of Logan Sargent. So very good for Valtteri Bottas there. Almost into the 134s. But again, I think we need to see all the drivers in the 134s. I think that's what we've seen now. The 134s should be qualifying material.
Well, that should be, but I don't think a 134 is going to be safe.
No, I'm not saying it's safe
right now,
but I think it's going to be the sort of times we'll see in qualifying. It's the 134s. The Mercedes engineers, there are a few of them laughing, a few of them looking a little bit concerned. Russell, obviously, at the top right now. Will we see Hamilton get anywhere near that, or will he be slightly off his teammate? Because he really is struggling to match his teammate's pace right now.
Yes, he is struggling to match his teammate's pace right now, but what can Hamilton do throughout the rest of the day? I think maybe he's just still trying to get to grips with this circuit. I'm sure he should be able to get a good lap time in by the end. It's Lewis Hamilton. You can't discount him at all.
So we're heading into almost the last 13 minutes of the session. Russell's in first. The two Red Bulls, Verstappen and Perez in second and third. They've not come out yet. Again, after putting those times in quite earlier. Having said that, Verstappen has just decided to head out on an out lap. So now we're going to start to see some more quali sims from all of the lap drivers, from all the drivers across the board. Let's see what sort of times we're going to see from all those drivers. Will we see the 133s in this session? And that's the big question I've got to ask for the rest of it.
As Alex Albon moves himself up now into 3rd place with 134.7. Great to see that these Williams have some really good pace out here today. We expected them to be quick at this high-speed circuit. Their cars rarely suited high-speed circuits all year long. And Alex Albon, once again, showing that he is going to be one of the drivers in contention this weekend.
Fernando Alonso at 134.788, right behind Albon's time as well. So very, very good for those two drivers to get right into third and fourth. I still think they can find some more pace out there. And let's see what the Ferraris are doing. They're still not out of the pits. They're still down in 10th and 11th after putting those medium tyre runs in. They're really, really good medium tyre runs. Watching a replay here of Zhou Guanyu coming into Sector 1. Oh, my word. Really, really does lock up that front left quite a lot going into Sector 1. So hopefully he'll fix those mistakes very, very shortly. And George Russell with the DRS open, just seeing how much brake dust is coming off the car. Some more brake dust there. I mean, looks fine though. He's currently sitting in first. He's currently put a purple sector in Sector 1, so not doing too badly there. Bottas with a purple sector in Sector 2. So now we really are seeing these times starting to get beaten quite significantly as Verstappen's ramping up to start his own hot lap for himself. What's happening there? He's got a couple of purple mini sectors already in his time. Personal bests, but some of those mini sectors he's not beating right now. He does put in the purple first sector though.
Yes, he is on a brand new set of softs, though, not like what the graphics say that he's on a set of mediums. He is on a set of softs at the moment, setting those timing boards alight. But Piastri has now taken away the middle sector, and Logan Sargent has moved himself up into second place with a 134.645. Brilliant from Logan Sargent.
If the Williams are putting in 134.6s, I really wonder what the Ferraris will do. And we do have Sainz and Leclerc now on outlaps finally. So now we are going to see that sort of pace from those Ferraris. Let's see what they can do as Max Verstappen is setting the track ablaze. Let's see what he does in Sector 2 as he comes towards the end of it. Now his time in Sector 2. Is it a purple sector? It's not. He's missed it. I think he's gone into the runoff area. I think he does miss it. Yeah, he does. He does indeed.
There was a whole bunch of cars. He had traffic in his way, and then he had another car in his sight line in that runoff zone. So that may have just psyched him out ever so slightly. But Piastri goes fastest now overall with a 134.491. We did think these McLarens had some pace in hand, and they're now finally showing it.
Yeah, so the McLaren's finally doing some proper quality simulations for all of us and putting in a really good time as Oscar Piastri. Let's see what Lando Norris can do. He's also put in a purple mini sector as he's going around on his fast lap in Sector 1. Only a personal best in Sector 1, but literally almost identical to Piastri's first ever time. There was a yellow flag. I'm sure it'll be cleared very shortly. I'm sure it's just for a runoff area. We'll confirm for that. It does stay white of yellow for a little while. I'm sure we'll get a green flag very shortly. If we don't, though, we might actually have a permanent yellow. It is green now. And looking at Norris's lap, not doing particularly well in Sector 2. It was Albon that went off into that runoff area, as Reece says. Yes. And let's see what the Ferraris do as they're now starting to go about their first hot laps. I think, are there Sainz is coming in at the end of Sector 1 at 20? I think it's still slow there for Sainz, still maybe just an out lap there for himself. So 134.49 to beat.
Ooh, Lando Norris goes very wide there through that one corner and almost hits the barrier, but manages to keep it within the lines. Alex Albon's going around in the first sector now quite quickly. He set some purple mini sectors in that first sector, but I think he abandoned it in the second sector. Seeing some other lap times being put in at the moment, Lando Norris finishes up his lap. He's still down in P9.
Yeah, 135.0. I do think he made quite a few mistakes on that lap. So I think there's quite a lot of time still to be found for Lando Norris, but yeah, it's currently down in 9th. It's not the best position for himself. His teammates in first. Russell's still up there in second, and he's very close to Piastri's time, so it's really quite a good time for himself. The Ferrari is now hopefully finishing up there a second outlap for either of them, and we really want to see the pace of them. I keep talking about the Ferraris because, of course, they were quickest yesterday by quite some distance, and hopefully they found even more pace today. Verstappen, as he's starting his next fast lap, I think he's about to get going with that as he comes down the goes into the third sector rather. Hamilton's following him. A lot of drivers ramping up to start some more hot laps here. Towards the end of the session, only 8 minutes left, so we now are going to see about 2 to 3 more push laps from most of the drivers, and I think we will see some very cool and very quick times from all of them.
Hamilton's coming up to finish this hot lap now. Where does he put himself? He's coming through the final sector, through the final couple of corners, just waiting for that lap time to be put down by him. He comes across the line now. Where does he put himself? A purple sector in the middle, in the final sector. Where does he go? Waiting for him to cross line. He only goes up into 7th. Not good enough.
No, so really can't match the pace of George Russell right now, which is interesting because Hamilton didn't seem to have too many problems that lap. So
And Hamilton was faster yesterday.
yeah, so maybe a little bit of concern for Hamilton there. Russell's put in a purple sector in sector 2 in his next attempt at a fast lap here. So could we see a new fastest time ahead of Piastri? Of course, Piastri was only just beating him earlier. I think we might well do. Verstappen now starting a new hot lap for himself. Not improving too much in the first sector right now. And let's see what will happen for the rest of that sector. Though Russell now coming across the line in about 10 seconds time. Where will he put himself? And Piastri, I think, has gone into the pits.
Albon's made a mistake out on track again as well.
Russell's now gone fastest, almost into the 133s. Very, very quick from George Russell, a 134.093. Brilliant lap time from him. And the Ferraris are going around. Sainz and Leclerc still, I think they're just doing race pace. I think they're not bothering with qualifying because those are slow times.
I don't think they want to show their true pace.
Very interesting. The Ferraris not doing any quali sims, it seems, right at the end here. Russell doing very well to get almost into the 133s. Brilliant from him. I think the Ferraris recognize how much pace they have in their cars. I think the Ferraris could be very good this weekend.
I think they're feeling quite quietly confident at the moment, and I think we have an interesting qualifying session ahead of us later.
Very much so. Currently, obviously, they're down at 16th and 17th. People will look at that and say, oh, no, look, they're looking slow. But, of course, having said that, Charles Leclerc going around 26.8, a 31.158 in Sector 2. That is the new quickest time in Sector 2. So, doing very, very well there is Leclerc. Maybe we could see some quality times from them, having said all of that. Not going brilliantly in Sector 3 right now for himself, but maybe he will find quite a lot of time towards the end of the sector. I think he needs to put himself in the top 4, although we do have a yellow flag. I'm sure it'll be taken away very shortly. I think he's had his lap time has been abandoned though because of a yellow flag out on the track just ahead of him there. Alex Albon stopped on track. No, I think this is going to be a red flag.
Is he in the wall?
It says Alex Albon stuck on track. I think he is stuck. Watching a replay here of Alex Albon. I think he goes into the wall. Oh, he does hit it slightly.
Everything looks fine, to be honest. I don't see any debris.
It's the same wall that Logan Sargent went into.
It's a relatively high hit.
He's got a puncture. Yeah, he's got a puncture, so he's going to have to limp his way back to the pits, hopefully. So, yeah. That's the same wall that Logan Sargent's been hitting, getting very close to.
He didn't break too much. He may have broken his rear suspension there.
The tyre does come off, though.
Now the tyre has come off.
Yeah, so that's why there was a yellow flag. The tyre is on the circuit, so that's why...
Red flag and the timer is ticking down.
Yeah, red flag in the session probably means that we will not get going again in the session. The session will probably not be resumed. So that... We didn't get to see the pace of Leclerc's lap there. We couldn't see the finishing parts of that. I don't think they're too concerned about that, though, because they started it late. I don't think they would have been too upset without getting that in. As I say, red flag for the session. Fairly certain the session will not be resumed as a result. We're in the last 5 minutes already. So they will take a while to get that car taken off the track. So unfortunate end for Alex Albon there.
Yes, that is rather unfortunate, and they have now ticked it down to 0, so that the session will not be resumed. That is confirmed by the FIA. Very interesting session. I think we're going to have a lot of competition for this next qualifying session ahead of us later this evening, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. The Ferraris are going to have pace. The Mercedes seem to have pace. The McLarens have pace. Williams have pace. A lot of drivers all in contention for that top spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. And of course, we're going to review the session right now, and we're going to go straight into our next stream. Don't go anywhere. We're going to now go into our qualifying stream, and we're going to review the session then and there. So stick around. Of course, thank you so much for watching Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports with myself, Mark, and Reece alongside me. We'll see you in the next one.